Hello and welcome to Wednesday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, and today we've got a brand new puzzle for you. In fact, it's a sequel puzzle. It's called Mission Impossible 2, and it is by the great Dutch constructor Ard van de Wetering. Ard is responsible, as many of you will know, for some of our biggest ever videos. His puzzles just capture the imagination. And look, this is just beautiful, isn't it? Some 3-cell arrows, some diagonals. Oh, and there was a chess move thing. Cells separated by a king's move in chess cannot contain the same digit. So, yeah, that's all we've got today. And I'll read you the rules properly in a moment or two's time. But Ard's puzzles are always a treat. And a couple of the testers have looked at this and they say it is the usual fare you get from the great man. Just a beautiful, beautiful puzzle. So, I'll read the rules in a moment. First thing I'd like to do, though, apart from that, is just to thank you if you joined us last night for our streaming. Mark and I streamed ourselves solving some puzzles. We did 2 puzzles each in the 2-hour window, and yeah, absolutely amazing quality of puzzles and amazing quality of chat. And I was very delighted that many of you, I think, shared my suspicions about yellow food, yeah, although I did agree that there is an exemption for cheddar cheese. So that was all great stuff. So if you are stuck on any of the puzzles that appeared in our 600,000 subscriber special pack, that is the place to look. There is well, I think we've solved every puzzle from the pack now, apart from who? Oh, it was Florian. Oh no, was it Florian? Yeah, it might have been. I can't remember. There was one puzzle that Mark hasn't solved yet. That we'll get to at some point. But we might stream Temetsi next. Actually, a lot of you have asked for that, and that's a bit like hex cells, which we really enjoyed playing together a couple of months ago. So Temetsi might be the next one. Let us know in the comments if you think that's a good idea. Now, another thing I'd like to share with you, which is absolutely nothing to do with puzzles, but I tweeted this earlier. At this time every year, in my garden, I have the most spectacular, this tree, which for the most part of the year is just, it's sort of a little tree. And then at this time of the year, it just changes and you get all of this sort of red-orange tinge to it. And I think it's an Acer tree. I think it's some sort of Japanese maple. But my goodness me, it's stunning. So I thought you might like to see a picture of it. Isn't that amazing? So that was one thing I wanted to say. Other news, over on Patreon, we've got our monthly competition running, the Paint by Numbers Institute Sudoku Hunt, Caroline's Halloween Adventure. You're going to have to get your entries in before Halloween if you want to have a chance of winning the competition. The competition closes on the 20th, so still absolutely plenty of time. Some Sudoku puzzles, as you can see there, these are the ones that you get a picture from as you begin to solve them. They are brilliant. And then what else? Let's talk about birthdays, shall we? I've got a few birthdays to do today. Let's wish a very happy birthday to Drew-Ann. Drew-Ann, you've turned 60 today. Many congratulations. I know this because your daughter Kelly wrote to us. I think Kelly introduced you to the channel back in 2021, and you've become very much a regular viewer. And I loved hearing that today you're going to be celebrating at the Albuquerque Balloon Festival. I didn't know there was a balloon festival in Albuquerque, but I've looked it up and it looks absolutely spectacular. So I hope that's great. I hope it's not affected by, it's New Mexico, isn't it, Albuquerque? I hope it's not affected by any of this dreadful weather reports we're seeing. I do hope you are all staying safe over on that side of the pond. But anyway, Drew-Ann, enjoy your birthday. Many, many happy returns. Next, another 60th birthday. Peter, it's your birthday today, and I know this because your wife Rachel wrote to us, and she told us that your 2 passions in life are cracking the cryptic, thank you, and croquet. What an unusual combination. I have played croquet on occasion. I found it to be a very good game and a very vicious game. Anyway, next, Emily. Emily, you've turned 26 today, and I know this because your partner Sam wrote to us. and told us you've been watching for years as well. So Emily, thank you so much for watching. I hope you get an enormous slice of chocolate cake today. And then finally, well, this is a happy birthday to Josh, but Josh, I have to refer to you as Rebecca Lee, apparently. I don't know why, but your friend, I'm going to say Raja, but it could be Raya. It depends how you pronounce the J there. Anyway, Raya Vraja wrote to us and said that you'd really appreciate a shout out. So, Rebecca Lee, I hope you have a great one. I believe that's an in-joke, but I don't know what it means. I was told you'd find it funny. I hope you do, and I hope you get chocolate cake. Many happy returns. Anyway, now let's move on to Mission Impossible 2. Before I turned on the webcam, I looked up Mission Impossible 1, which was obviously by Ard as well, and it didn't look that different from this. It sort of had arrows had arrows of this sort of nature. Actually, I should have got a copy of it. They were sort of looking like that. And then that arrow looked like that. So it was quite a different pattern. But anyway, I don't know more than that. Let's read the rules together. We have got normal Sudoku rules apply, so we're going to have to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, every column, and every 3x3 box. Digits along an arrow must sum to the digit in that arrow's circle. So, those 3 digits, you add them up. So let's say these were 1, 2, and 4. It's the least they could be. 1, 2, and 4 add up to 7. And that's what we'd write in the circle. Very straightforward. Digits may not repeat along a main diagonal marked in blue. So not only do we have to make sure every row and column and box has the digits 1 to 9 once each, that's also going to be true for this diagonal, sometimes called the negative diagonal, because it would have a negative gradient if you plotted y against x, and this diagonal also must contain one set of the digits 1 to 9. And then we've got the king's move constraint. So it says cells separated by a single king's move in chess cannot contain the same digit. Now this is a weird restriction because it's not quite, I never view it as quite as powerful as the knight's move constraint. So let's look at this cell here. Now you can see that an awful lot of the cells that would be a king's move away from this, which are in fact all of those cells, all of those blue cells, they couldn't have been the green digit just because of normal Sudoku rules. It's only these 2 cells that are affected by the king's move constraint. So neither of those, so this digit, whatever it is, couldn't appear in this square. So the green square couldn't replicate itself into orange. So what that leads us to conclude is there are going to be some cells in the grid, if we ignore the diagonal constraint for a moment, but cells like this, or in fact cells in the corners, like those, the king's move constraint has absolutely no effect on them. Because the only way the king's move is going to have an effect along borders, because the king is, it's a piece that really doesn't move very far. Those of you who play chess will be familiar with that. Anyway, do have a go. Ard's puzzles are wonderful. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. But now I get to play. Let's get cracking. And the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to highlight all of those circles, because in each case we're adding 3 different digits, aren't we? So I think these squares here are at least 6 in each case, and this one can't be 6 because to be 6 this would have to be a 1, 2, 3 triple, which won't work given the 3 that we're given in the grid. That can't be 7 by dint of Sudoku. I mean, Ard, how could you? How could you do that to me? Make me do Sudoku a mere moment into the puzzle. 3 is quite a good thing to look for in diagonal Sudoku, is if you get digits that are off the diagonals in 2 boxes. So you can see these 3s haven't yet appeared on this diagonal, so they do have to appear in one of those squares. No, I mean this, I mean, there are other things I can see here. I suspect this is going to be set based. I'm not sure, But if there are other things I can see, but it feels to me like they'd be more interesting in the context of a knight's move puzzle than a king's move puzzle. For example, this digit here, it can't go in its own row, and it can't go on its own arrow, can it? Because if it went on its own arrow, these two digits would have to be 0 to make the mathematics work. So that digit is in one of those 3 squares, and therefore it's in one of these 3 squares. And that logic's going to propagate round the grid, but I can't see how we're even going to get a pencil mark from that. There's no way, is there, of proving these all have to be different for some reason. Let me just give that a thought for a second or two. I mean, obviously these have to be different from one another. They're in the same box, but if anything was the same, it would appear in the middle. No, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to look at the first thought when I saw this grid was it must be to do with set. So I'm going to try that. And I can never remember the sort of expanded Fistemafel ring. So if some of you won't know what set theory is, and I will just run through it. So there is a theory in Sudoku, or not, theorem would be more correct. Let's get rid of that green. And you can prove this to be the case. You can prove that these blue digits here, these 16 blue digits, are the identical digits to those 16 digits that ring the central cell, or the central 3x3 box of a Sudoku. That is true for any Sudoku. It's called the Fistemafel ring, and I did a number file episode about it. But there is an expanded version, or a sort of distended version of the Fistemafel ring, where the ring sort of moves outwards, and that I'm gonna have to work it out. So let's think about those. So if I just highlight these blue squares for a moment, and then I'm going to say to you that we can describe exactly what the contents of these blue squares are. In fact, I'm going to do it in a slightly different way, just so that it's very clear. If I asked you to describe the contents of that blue column generically, then I think we could all agree that this column of digits contains the digits 1 to 9 once each, because of the rules of Sudoku. And that might seem like a very fatuous thing to say, but bear with me. So let's add to that blue set of digits another blue set of digits, this set of digits. So now we would agree, wouldn't we, that the blue sets of digits overall are 2 sets of the digits 1 to 9. Now I'm going to add another. I'm going to add that row 2 as well. Now you'll notice that if I add row 2, whatever's in this cell and whatever's in this cell is sort of double counted. So these squares are now, if I want to describe the blue squares as 3 sets of the digits 1 to 9, that's fine, providing that in those sets I'm including this digit twice, whatever it is, and this digit twice, whatever it is. And then if I want to add the whole of row 8 to our set, which I could do, providing I count these cells, cells with the purple flash twice, then the blue cells in toto, as a total set, are 4 sets of the digits 1 to 9. Now, I'm going to highlight a different 4 sets of the digits 1 to 9. So I'm going to highlight the 4 corner boxes. Is that a really? See, I'm never sure. I know people say orange and blue are sort of our most friendly colours, but that doesn't look very clear to me. I might try blue and yellow. Okay, so the yellow cells collectively, obviously a box of a Sudoku is 1 set of the digits 1 to 9, so the yellow cells collectively are 4 sets of the digits 1 to 9. In other words, the blue set of digits and the yellow set of digits are the same. So let's imagine that I took that digit out of both sets, or that cell out of both sets, because we've agreed that these cells contain the same thing. So if I took that cell, which is clearly in both sets, isn't it? If I took it out of both sets, what can we say about the remaining cells now? Well, we can't say exactly what they're made up of now. We can't say it's 4 sets of the digits 1 to 9, because we don't know what digit this is. But the point is that by removing this thing from both sets, given that they were the same before we did the removal, what's left in both sets must still be the same thing. And we can do that for all of the cells that have 2 colours in them. We can delete all of these and that logic will hold. So it is still the case at this point that the 2 sets are the same. But remember that these funny cells with the purples in them, they're twice in the blue set. So if I remove this cell once from yellow and once from blue, then it's going to remain once in the blue set. So these become blue. That one should have been deleted. That's got 2 colours. Now, yeah, this is why I wanted to do this set rather than the Fistamafel ring set, because when you get puzzles that have arrows in them, it's often a very good idea to try and put the arrows into a different set to the circles. Now, why is that the case? So at this point in the puzzle, we haven't really proved anything. We've proved a generic thing, which is that in any Sudoku puzzle, the yellow cells here, there are 16 yellow cells, are the exact same digits as the 16 blue cells that we've also got highlighted. And that's true for any Sudoku. If you don't believe me, go and solve any Sudoku and check it out. You'll find it's true. But now, if these are the same digits, imagine we summed up all of the yellow cells and summed up all of the blue cells. We're going to get the same number. We don't know what the number is, but it will be the same. But we know by arrow logic that the sum of those 3 digits is the same as the sum of this circle. So if I remove these 3 squares from blue and this square from yellow, then the sum of what remains in yellow and blue must be the same still, because it was the same before I took the same sum out of both things. Now you'll note now that we've got a mismatch in terms of the number of cells left. We can no longer say that what's left in yellow, we've got the same digits in yellow as we have in blue. We haven't anymore, but we do know that the sums are preserved, and we can do the same here and the same here and the same here. Now, if this doesn't do anything, I'm going to feel very silly. The first thing I can see there is that these digits all have to be different. So what we've got now is how many cells? Well, I can see it. I can see it. It's beautiful. This is classic art. It's absolutely beautiful. Look what we've got. We've got exactly what we would perfectly love. That is the nature of the gift that art has given us, because, look, let's look at the blue's digits now. We know these are all different digits because of the diagonal constraint. So imagine this digit. Can it repeat in any of the other blue cells? Well, it can't. It normally could have done in a normal Sudoku, but not one with a diagonal constraint, because these digits see each other. So these digits are all different. So what's the maximum sum of them? Let's imagine we made them 6, 7, 8, and 9. They must all be different, so that's the absolute maximum sum we could create. What is 6, 7, 8, and 9 if we sum it? 30. Well, look at the yellow cells. What's the absolute minimum we could make these yellow cells sum to? Well, we could put 1, 2, 3, and 4 in box 1. We could put 1, 2, 3, and 4 in box 9. 1, 2, 3, and 4 add up to 10. So far we're on 20. But look what we've got left. This diagonal where we can't repeat a digit. So the minimum sum of the positive diagonal, the yellow digits on the positive diagonal, is also 10 if we put 1, 2, 3, and 4 in. So there is balance. The balance is achieved only where we've got to go 6, 7, 8, 9 in blue and 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, let's do all of the highlighting of the yellow cells and see what we can delete, because we can delete 1s from those, 3s from these, by this just Sudoku, 1 from there, 3s from here. So I can see we can do some Sudoku with 3s. There is a 3 on the right side. In box 9, the 3 is in one of these positions. So the 3 is in one of those positions. It's on an arrow. So that arrow can't be a 7 anymore, because 7 has to be 1, 2, 4. So this arrow is 6, 8, 9. No. It's not 6. There's a 6 in its row. It's 8 or 9 now. Okay, I don't know. Well, that's not a 1 actually. That's 2 or 4. Right, so in this column, the 1 is down at the bottom. So these aren't 1. Which is potentially interesting, is it? The answer to that is apparently no. Oh, well, okay, one other thing I've spotted is that 3 is in one of those squares in box 9, and 3 is in one of these squares on the positive diagonal. So where's the 3 in row thingy, technical term for row 8? And the answer is, I don't know, but it's definitely in those 3 squares, and it can't be in this one. So 3 is in one of those. So I was going to say that means this can't be 7, but actually the given digit does that anyway, doesn't it? So if that was a 3, then the king's move would stop that being a 3. Let me think about this. I wonder if what we actually have to do here... Oh, look, it's going to be... Actually, I don't know. I was wondering whether, because I know that all of the blue digits have to be different, maybe a better strategy would be to highlight them all in different colours, because I know they're different. So let's pick some colours. Let's go green and... Should we have grey for the other one? That's quite a nice selection. Yeah, okay, so what that tells me is that I know the central digit. Perhaps I knew this anyway, some other way. The central digit of the puzzle sees all 4 colours. So it can't be 6, 7, 8 or 9, but it also can't be 1, 2, 3 or 4 because of the diagonals. So it's a 5. Yeah, okay. So just looking at the negative diagonal for a moment, we've got a 1, 2, 3, 4 quadruple, and we've got a 5. So everything else is a high digit, but we've already got purple and grey on the diagonal. So those squares are blue and green. And the same is true on the positive diagonal. We've got 1, 2, 3 and 4 placed. So these squares are grey and purple. So these squares are a 1, 2, 4 triple. And now... I don't know. Oh, I tried some... Okay, I'll tell you what I just tried. It didn't work, but I was looking at this one, and I was looking at the positive diagonal. Now, where is 1 on the positive diagonal? Now, it's either here or here, look. Now, what you can do in diagonal puzzles is you can find cells that see those 2 cells. So if I just highlight them for a moment in maybe red, you can see this digit. If that was a 1, it would knock 1 out of both of those squares and prevent 1 from appearing on the positive diagonal. The same is true for that, but actually I've already somehow eliminated 1s from these positions anyway, so... Oh, hang on. Forget anything complicated. I'm going to check this, but 1 on this diagonal seems to be placed here. Why isn't that a 1? Have I just mispencil marked something here? No, that's fair enough. It's this one, isn't it? That's really weird. So this 1, on this diagonal, it's pushing the 1 into one of those squares. But in this column, it's getting rid of the possibility of a 1 here, and so the 1 is also in one of those squares. So the only square that meets those criteria is that one. So this is a 1, this is not a 1. Now where is 1 on the positive diagonal? It's got to go in the corner. So now, now there is a 1 in one of these 3 squares in column 8, but the the king's move prevents this from being a 1, so there's a 1-3 pair now. So this square, which is 8 or 9, we've got 4 on the arrow already, so this is 4 or 5. 1 is definitely in one of those 3 squares, and it's definitely in one of those squares. So where is 1 in row 6? And the answer is, I probably don't know. It's in one of those squares. So if that was 1, that would be 1. That would be 1. This would be 9, because you couldn't put 1 on this arrow, so it would have to be 2, 3, 4. Let's try something else. Now I was about to say 3 has to be down here, but that's already true. 2, okay. That's a 3. I can see that. There might be other things that are easier than that, though. Let me just think for a moment. Problem is, when I see something like that, I now just want to do it, even though I suspect I'm neglecting very simple Sudoku here. Because this isn't that easy. Look at those 2 squares. They're definitely different, aren't they? They're in the same column. So this is a 2-4 pair. So how could this be? If this was a 2 or a 4, which one of imagine this was a 2. Then neither of these could be a 2, and they'd both be 4. Well, that can't work in Sudoku. The same is true if this is 4. So this is telling us, actually, that we get to sing. That's 3 in the corner, that's 3 in the spotlight, losing its religion. And now this 3 is giving us this 3 by Sudoku. So this is a 2-4 pair. This is not a 3. Yeah, so this is on the negative diagonal. It's just odd. He's a wizard, an absolute wizard. So yes. Where is 3 by Sudoku in this box now? Well, it can't go here by the king's move, and it can't go in the column, so it goes there. So that means this is a 3. How many 3s have we got? Well, quite a lot. Quite a lot. Yes, okay, we can keep going. Where is 3 in box 4? It can't be here. It's in one of these 3 squares, but it can't be there because of the king's move. It can't be here because of Sudoku. So this is 3, this is 3, this is 1, this is 1. Aha! Come on. Now. And yeah, oh no. I was about to say, where's 1 in this row? Not a good question, because I was seeing this 1 removed all of those squares from being 1. But we already have a 1, so that's not a sensible thing. 1 is in one of those squares by Sudoku with these ones. 1 is in one of 2 places only, in box 8. And we might have to think about maybe colouring 2s and 4s. I can see this digit has to appear on this arrow, and it has to be in one of those 2 squares, because it can't be here because of the king's move. Okay, alright, what do we do now? We could, I mean, in row 5 we have got all the low digits now, haven't we? So the remaining digits are high digits, which means we might be able to colour them. Not really, though. They're the same things going on there, look. This digit is going to have a partner here, and that's going to appear on this arrow as well. So I don't know. I'm stuck. I'm stuck. How do we unstick ourselves? Green has to be in one of those two squares. Maybe it's colouring. Yes, okay, that is a little interesting, isn't it? Green has to be in one of those two squares as well. So green is in one of these two squares in box 7. So this digit is in one of two places. No. Okay, maybe that doesn't do it. Oh dear, sorry. I don't know what to do now. I'm stuck. I've hit an absolute brick wall, haven't I? The same is going to be true with blue the other way round. So this blue, it gets pushed into one of those squares, and it gets pushed into one of these squares, and therefore in this box it's in one of the sort of corner positions, which feels a little interesting, but that works. Does that just work all round the grid, does it? So grey. No, oh no, it doesn't. No, it does not. Because grey, this box doesn't have the sort of low digits all in the corners. So grey doesn't have to be in the cross. Yeah, and the same as well. Grey here. No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Right, okay, forget that idea. That didn't work at all. Okay, so we have to come up with something else. What's it going to be? Well, okay, that digit has to be here, doesn't it? Because it can't be next to itself. So this is a 2 or a 4. So this digit, oh, there's going to be so many options, I think. It's either 1. So if this is a 6, it's a 1, 2, 3 triple. So this is a 1. If this is an 8, it's a 1, 4, 3 triple. So this is still a 1. And if this is 9, it's either 2, 3, 4, which would make this a 2 or a 4. Or it's 1, 3, 5, and that doesn't work because 1 and 5 couldn't both appear on this line. So it would be 2, 3, 4 in the event that this is a 9. Now, the problem there is I don't think there was any digit that was always on this. Was 4 always on it, actually? Was 4 always on it, or am I making that? No, 4 wasn't, because this could be 6. No, that's not true at all. Okay, so there is no common digit. Bobbins. Oh dear. All right, so that just didn't work. Okay. What have I got to do then? Is there something? Oh, right. No, it's okay, isn't it? What about this digit? Yes, it's much simpler than I was thinking. Where does that digit? I'll just give it a red flash for a moment. Where does it go in this box? Well, it goes here. So where does it go in this column? And the answer is there. That's the only place it could go. So this is a 4. That's huge. So this is a 2. So now 2 is in one of those squares. 2 is here by Sudoku because I've got a 2, 4 pair in row 1, or row 3 I should say. Well, no, in row 1, which pushes this into row 3. Now, okay, so now there is a 2 on this arrow, which doesn't help me at all in knowing its nature. But there is a 2 by Sudoku, that is true. Oh, no, there's a 4 as well. There's 2 and 4, so this is 1, 2, 4. That's huge. Aha, aha. Right. So 1, 2, 4. This adds up to 7. So that's a 7. Which is the same as this one, which might be the blue one, which is that one. That can't be 4. That can't be 1. This digit is one of those 2 squares, but I think it could still be 2 or 4. This can't be 7. Now, can we... Oh, I see, yes, the diagonals. Don't forget the diagonals. This is a 2 on the diagonal now, so that's a 2. Right, so all the low digits on the diagonals are now sorted out. And 2 has made an appearance in one of these squares on this arrow, and 2 can't go next to itself. So this is 2. This is 2. So now this is either, well, it can't be 7, there's a 3 on the arrow. If it's 6, this is 1. If it's 8, it can't be 8, because this would have to be another 3, so it's not 8. If it's 9, it's 4, and it's not 4 by Sudoku. So this is a 1, this is a 6. That's lovely. Where's 6 in box? Oh no, hang on, no, I'm doing knight. I'm mixing up knight's moves. No, okay, don't do what I was about to do. There's a 6 in one of these 3. Now it's true to say it can't go there, but it can go. It can go in either of these. I think it definitely can't go there though. Sorry, I was doing a knight's move to here, and that's just totally invalid. Oh, 2 can't go there because of the nature of the world. So we still don't know what this is, I don't think. Bobbins. Alright, that can't be 4 because of this 4. So that's a 1, 2 pair, and that's a 4. So that's a 2. And this can't be 6 anymore. Right, so that's got to be 4. This is a 9. Get rid of 9 from here. Get rid of 9 from here. My colouring of these sort of corner squares has been absolutely hopeless. It hasn't done anything for me. 9 is in one of these. 9 is in one of those. It's in oh, 3, 1, 4 add up to 8. I can do that one. So this isn't an 8. This isn't an 8. Right, what about these digits then? We can do Sudoku. 5, 7, 9. 5, 7, 9. What can we get rid of? 5 from that one. These squares up here have got to be a 6, 8 pair. That might be useful. So the gaps here are 5 and 9 in row 1 now. Oh, somehow that doesn't do anything. What about... Oh, I don't know. Good grief. Okay. How many 2s have we got in the grid? Actually, maybe we start with 1s. How many 1s have we got in the grid? Several. But not up. We can get more. Yeah, I can get all of them. 2, 4. How many 2s have we got in the grid? Oh, loads. Okay, 2s are done. 3s are done. 4s are not done, but might be doable. That's a 4. That's a 4. This is good. Right, 5s. I've got all the 4s. 5. So I've only got 1. Oh. Oh, well, okay, but the 5 in this box has to be in one of those 2 squares. So the 5 in this box can't be on the diagonal. 5 in that box is very restricted. So these squares are from 5, 7 and 8 by Sudoku, and that is not 7. Okay, that's not done it either, has it? What about that digit then? That's 5, 6 or 9. these are 6, 7s, 8s, 9s, but I don't think they're seeing anything. I might have to colour differently. I'm wondering about whether I'm meant to colour that digit, for example, but it's simply because it can't. It has to go on this side of the central box because of the king's move constraint. I don't know at the moment. Have I done all the oh, let's keep going with other digits. 6s. I've only got 2 6s in the grid. And no, okay, let's try 7s. I've got 2 7s. I thought I got more 7s than that. 7 in this box is in a domino. So 7 in this box is in a domino. 7 in this box is in a triple. This isn't it either, is it? Let's try 8. Oh no, 8s are all so awful. I've got 1 8 in the grid. What about 9s then? On 1 9, okay. And yeah, and I feel like I'm getting the same sort of pattern in a lot of places. Like this 9 feels like the pencil mark I did for the 7 over on the right hand side. 9 is in this domino, but neither of those are going to affect the knight's move constraint. So I'm missing something, aren't I? Right, that digit is interesting. By Sudoku in the bottom row, I think it's 5, 6 or 8, and it sees 5, so it's 6 or 8, and that does give me a pair in this column, which means 7 and 9 are the digits I haven't placed. So this is 7 or 9, and it has a friend in one of those squares. Which sort of feels interesting. What about that one? That one is, it's 5, 6 or 8 again. But all of those seem okay. How do we do this then? I have not got a Scooby-Doo. I think, do I want to get rid of all my colouring? That's a question I am thinking about that. Oh no, I don't need to. 6 has got to be there in this box. So probably it's Sudoku. That's normally the thing I fail at, isn't it? So it gets me a 6 here. So I've now got, ooh. Well, is that doing something in this middle? I mean, I can see 6 is in one of these 2 squares now. I suppose I'm going to get this digit as well, aren't I? Because I have got to place 5, 8... Oh, hang on, oh, Simon, look, sorry, there's a 7 here. A given digit I didn't see. So that's going to be helpful as well. These are 5 and 8, which might not be resolved, but I'm feeling a bit better about not having to uncolour everything. That's a 7 by Sudoku. So let's tidy up. No, it doesn't do as much as I hoped. But in the middle box now, we do know that 7 is in one of these squares. We know 9 is in one of these squares. So what about 8? The implication there would be that 8 is in one of those squares, which implies that would be an 8. But I don't think we've actually worked that out. That just seems to be the symmetry of how this is working. Okay, I don't know. Let's try. We've got an X-wing of 5s. That's not going to help us. 5, 6. There's definitely an 8 in one of these 2 squares. So there's definitely an 8 in one of these 3 squares. Maybe it's not 8s. Ah, I see. Is this right? Hang on. I've got 6 in one of these 2 squares. I don't know how I've got that. No, that's right. That's Sudoku. Okay. Sudoku is putting a 6 in one of these, but that means this can't be a 6 because it would wipe 6 out of the middle box altogether. So this is not 6, this is 6. That's going to be useful. So that's 6, and that seems to place 9, and that's going to unwind my 9, 5, my 5, my 8. This becomes 8, this becomes 7. Now the diagonals, presumably, that becomes 7. This becomes 6. This is brilliant. It's just brilliant, isn't it? This is classic art. And it's so ridiculously tightly constructed. Okay, I mean, I must... Oh, 8's touching that digit now, so that's 7. That's 7 by Sudoku. This square is 5 or 8 by Sudoku. As is this one. I'm just trying to see if it's seeing anything in its King's Move vicinity. I'm not sure it is. That's... Okay, so we've got 5, 8 or 9 here. This square loses its ability to be set. Oh, look, I get a 5, 8 pair. That's not what we wanted. Can we do better than that? Surely. That's not 6. So we've got a 5, 9 pair here, but these aren't going to be affected by the King's Move. We're going to need something else. We've done the positive diagonal. It must be, okay, that can't be 9 by dint of the King's Move, because it sees this 9. That can't be 7. A 6 is done or something. I feel like we did a load of 6s and then I started to neglect them. So 6 is in one of those two squares. And 6, oh no, so 6s are sort of X-winged here, but we don't know the order. That's very, very irritating indeed. Okay. So perhaps, what do we think? I might have to just be diligent and pencil mark everything. What about this row? 5, 7 and 8. Yeah, where's 7 in this row? That's a legitimate question. It can only be there. So have we done all our... Oh, we've done all our 7s. Bobbins. Okay, what about 5s? Oh, 5s are terrible. Absolutely terrible. Oh, well they are, except look at this row. Where's 5 in it? It can't go there because of that. That's a very worthy 5, isn't it? So it has to go there. Which means I get an 8, 9 pair. This becomes 5. That becomes 8. That's good. That is good. Here we are. We've done it. We must have done it, I think. 5 goes here. This diagonal needs an 8. That makes this a 5 by our fair-weathered friend Sudoku. That becomes 8 and 9. This becomes 5. That's an... Oh no, hang on, that might be wrong. Let's be careful. No, that's 8. That's 6. That's 9. So that's 9 and that's 6. And suddenly the puzzle has unfolded and revealed its secrets to us. Wow. It's just brilliant. It's brilliant constructing. Now let's just see. What did the pattern end up with? So we ended up with purple was there in the end. And grey was here. And so, in fact, why don't we do it diligently? Let's get rid of all yellow. So I'm quite interested in just how the high digits resolve themselves. So grey, this was the blue digit, I think. In fact, what we could do, we'll Control A the grid, get rid of everything, and double click. Double click 7s, double click. What colour were they? Were they green? 9s were purple, I want to say, and I think that these ones were blue, maybe. So, what's that taught me? I don't even know if the puzzle's right. Let's check. It is right. It's been solved twice. So it's not been around very long. And do I like it? Yes, I do. It is absolutely splendid. Yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. But it's... Yeah, I found unwinding the high digits challenging. I'm just wondering, I'm just trying to see from the pattern whether there was a way I could have done this more efficiently. I'm sure it's probably just Sudoku, wasn't it, and spotting the king's moves more quickly. But my favourite part of the puzzle, frankly, was the moment that I saw that I could parcel up what I think were my yellow digits into 4 different parcels. So I could see that had a minimum of 10, this had a minimum of 10, and the diagonal had a minimum of 10. And that, once you see the balance, you can do the puzzle and sort it out. And well, it wasn't quite Mission Impossible 2. It wasn't quite Mission Impossible 2, but only probably because in the time since Mission Impossible, set theory has become something that I suppose we've added to our arsenal of Sudoku solving techniques. And there are some patterns which just, you see them and you think, well, it could be set. And then you start the puzzle and think, well, I can't do anything else, so it probably is set. And indeed, it was. Anyway, let me know in the comments how you got on. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.